Being a vampire is so gloomy. We've talked about this a bit before, but being a vampire is always about being a loner and being evil and all that stuff. Presumably the devil wouldn't contract anyone to be a vampire if they weren't gonna be evil, but then you get settings like Soul Reaver where the vampires aren't really evil and they can make their own decisions about who should become a vampire. So, here's the thing, if just anyone can become a vampire, then why don't more people become vampires? Why doesn't the government just embrace the idea of vampirism and go with it? After all, vampires are super strong, they have magic powers, they can turn into bats, they'd make great messengers, they're sneaky, they're really great soldiers, why not conscript vampires? You remove the devil from the equation, and when you get right down to it, aren't they just superheroes? Instead of kryptonite, they're weak to the sun. Instead of the color yellow, their powers don't work on holy artifacts. And that's not even getting into the mundane stuff. You gotta imagine a lot of wealthy rulers would probably seek after vampirism because it makes them immune to disease, it makes them immortal, they'll never catch syphilis, they'll never have to give their inheritance to their son. By all means, there's no logical reason why vampires would be persecuted. If it's not really a satanic curse, I don't see why anyone would be any different just because they're a vampire. They'd still like communities, they'd still behave just like people. Maybe they're persecuted because they drink human blood. But they could drink cow blood, can't they? You'd think they'd find a way, but I don't know. Maybe vampires are expected to hold more to cultural standards than they are to common sense. Oh well. Poor vampires. Too much peer pressure. But anyway, let's get back to our game.
Hello, my name is Taylor.
And I am Ray.
And, the one whining is Peyton.
I want to go ice skating. Yes, we'll go later. How come it is always Ray who is in charge? Yes, we are always doing as Ray wishes to do. I don't know. I guess I just usually come up with the ideas. I mean, do you guys feel like I take charge too often?
I don't care, you're fine.
We are always as slaves. Do you remember we were in the parking lot and I said, can we take the thing? And you said no. What, the shopping cart? That was a shopping cart. No, we can't have a shopping cart. You see, you are the tyrant. Yes. There wasn't even room in the car.
We'll go ice skating after we're done today, Peyton. So, anyway, I can't help but notice that there's an artifact that helps you fly across that gap. Isn't this place built for Mobius?
I don't know if I have money for ice skating, to be honest.
That's fine. I'll cover you.
Oh, alright. Thank you. Anyway, I think that Raziel just says that it's Mobius's time streaming chamber. I don't know if he really knows that, he's just assuming.
And it's never explicitly stated anywhere who built the chambers?
Nope, they never say. As I stood there contemplating what I was about to do, it occurred to me that I had no idea where this device would take me. Was it possible that Mobius would trick me again? It seemed like the kind of thing that he would do. Then I thought, I don't know, maybe he forgot to rig this thing. So I flipped the switch, leaving myself to fate.
Isn't it kind of funny the way that Raziel just plays into everyone's hands? He knows he's being played.
I really like the way he reassures himself with the knowledge that he has no control. He just keeps saying, I know I'm being tricked, but because I know, I won't be tricked as badly. He should go to wherever Kain went to learn about the future. Yes. Well, here's the thing. Kain doesn't seem to know the future either. He has some ideas, but he doesn't really seem on the ball. But Kain is also manipulating the future. Yes, he has changed his fate. I think Kain just found out when and how he was gonna die, and aside from that, he just did a bunch of research. Combine that with his paranoia, and boom, it sounds like he knows what he's doing.
So Kain is basically an insane conspiracy theorist who stumbled on a real conspiracy and only thinks he's got a grasp on what's going on.
That's what I think. Before me were Saraphin banners, which meant that I could only be in the correct era. The question now was, who set the chamber? Was it Kain, Mobius, someone else? One way or the other, vampires were clearly not being celebrated. But at last, perhaps I could find Janos Audron, and discern the meaning of the forges and my role in all of this.
Taking all bets now that Yanos is not aware of the conspiracy, and is so a dead end.
That sounds like a good gamble for you, and since I don't even have money to go ice skating right now, I will not take you up on it. Can we skip ahead, please? Yes. Isn't this terrain redundant? Yeah, it is. Okay, to the next scene.
For being weak to water, there was a lot of vampires in the swamp.
In clear view of nobody but the swamp frogs, dozens of vampires had been thrust onto sticks. Since each of these bodies must have weighed an average of at least 130 pounds, the Saraphin were clearly deranged. Maybe if this part of a bureaucratic process. Yes, you have to kill the vampire, and by process, you are required to put the vampire on the stick. So they just put them willy-nilly, they don't care, follow regulations.
Somehow that doesn't sound like a really ringing endorsement for their sanity.
They must have found a whole vampire commune. There's no dwellings out here though, so I guess the vampires just lived in touch with nature. You know, drum circles and bongos and that stuff.
How long do you suppose it took to sharpen all those sticks?
You would think that a mass grave would be more realistic. Yes.
I would think the ESRB would not have been really happy about a mass grave.
Then they are nothing but babies. Yes.
By all that is holy.
For the first time, I beheld Saraphin warriors in person. I had to admit, their uniforms were pretty great. But I couldn't go without noticing that they'd impaled bodies in their own camp, as if to warn themselves against becoming vampires. So it appeared that they intentionally slept within the stench of the dead. I had developed a number of expectations for the Saraphin, and this somewhat spoiled the magic.
You notice they've also got a pot on the fire, so that means they eat among the corpses as well.
And they shine their armor so nicely, you just expect them to be kinda clean.
I don't know. I think you are hard on the Seraphins. I like their style. Besides, behold, there is a woman. Yes. Clearly they are progressive.
Not really. A lot of ancient cultures had female soldiers. It just kinda depended on the politics of the region and how frequently they were at war. It may not have been common, but like, if you knew women who were sorcerers and they could throw fire in battle, it would be kinda dumb not to hire them.
So people can learn magic? Can, like, Raziel learn magic?
You know, I have no idea. But let's skip ahead a little bit. So we've got like a small platoon chasing us now? I frickin' hate the Seraphins. After so much running in circles, I'd finally come to Janos' keep, and it was still intact. I held out hope that this could only mean that Yanos still lived. I presumed that the building must have collapsed shortly after his death. I don't know why I believed this, but it just felt thematically appropriate. So whatever. The only question now was how to arrive there without the power of flight.
I know how he gets in. Yes, I know how he gets in.
Yes, Peyton? How does he get in?
Is it he solves a series of inexplicable puzzles? Yes.
That is correct. We solve a bunch of inexplicable puzzles. This is the first one, finding out we have to go into spectral mode.
Do you think that Janos is aware that there's a giant hole in his basement in the spectral realm?
How would he know that?
I don't know. There was a giant carving indicating the fact. And also, don't vampires burst into flames when they touch water? How did they do all this?
Maybe they used the Zomblemans as slave labor. Yes.
Okay, but then why did they do all this? How did they know that Raziel would come down here and go for a swim?
The ancient vampire time guardian foresaw it? I don't know, we use that guy to explain a lot of stuff. He's so overpowered.
I still don't get how they can see all this highly specific crap and then die off anyway.
Oh look, it is true. The ancient vampires kept golden eyeballs of death in their homes.
No! Damn it, Janos! Not only is that really frustrating, but I guess it's confirmed that the ancient race died off because they installed these eyeballs in their homes, and then one at a time got vaporized.
You can just imagine someone would go over to see their friend and not be looking where they're going, or they walk through the wrong hallway. Boom! Dead.
There's not even anything down here. There's just a bunch of hallways and terraces.
There's the glowy purple things. Yes, they make for the fashionable lighting.
Oh my goodness, the floors are made out of ice. There's really no sense or reason for any of this stuff. Come on, Janos!
Well, maybe he was gonna go and get furniture, but then his race started getting killed by the Saraphin, and now he can't really go out.
Didn't they say that he preyed on the local townspeople? I kinda like to think he went down there in a trench coat and sunglasses every now and then and talked to the people. Be like, hello, fellow human. I'm here to pick up, a couch, if you have one for sale. How many vampire golds will that cost me? Oh, you don't deal in vampire golds? That's okay, neither do I. Why is my skin blue? I'm asphyxiating. Don't worry, it'll clear up as soon as I start breathing again. So, in other news, I hear that Janos Audron guy, that keep, that's a pretty happening pad. If anyone wanted to come by there and watch a slideshow about the time when my people were still alive. I mean, Janos Audron's people. No? Okay. See you guys again some other time.
That's what they meant when they said he preyed on the villagers. He just kept inviting them every single weekend to come down and watch slideshows with him.
And the one time someone gave him a chance, they were vaporized by the golden eyeball. Yes.
Poor Janos. He must be so lonely up there.
On top of all that, you just blew a great big hole in his house.
Wouldn't you suppose that Janos would hear something like that? Maybe he ought to come down and investigate?
Oh my god, I hate the Seraphins so freaking much! They can swing the big axes faster than I can swing the Reaver.
Well, when you get down to it, you've had the exact same enemies with the exact same movesets all game. The zombies and every single human has been the same. So how else were they gonna ramp up difficulty other than making the attacks faster?
I know that, and this is where the game's combat mechanics really kind of get broken. You just have to spam the attack button and hope that you connect. It's not even worth it to try to use something besides the Reaver because they'll just block it.
If they are hitting faster than Raziel, yes, does that not mean that they are stronger?
No, because if you watch, and this is actually really subtle, so I sort of like it, they have these short little jab movements that they use, very practical, not a lot of movement. Raziel always throws a big haymaker. If you watch him, he really does. He cocks his arm for like a quarter of a second, and that's enough for them to jab you in the face. That kind of thing happens in boxing too. Like if you watch a bar brawl, guys will wind up their punches. But a trained fighter just throws quick jabs. Boom, boom, you don't see him coming. In fact, it's considered bad form if your elbow flies out before you hit the punch. At the highest skill levels, tiny little movements like that can give away everything. The axe guys do still cock their weapons so you can get in there while they're doing that, but they do it pretty quickly, and their weapons are longer. The swordsmen, though, have a move where they barely telegraph and they just quickly jab you in the head. Raziel's haymaker is slower than their jab, and you will always get stabbed if you try to beat them to it. Of course, the problem is, Raziel's haymaker is faster than their power attacks, so if they're doing a power attack, you'll win and kill them. Ultimately, you just wind up in the crappy situation where you swing your weapon and you hope that the AI, instead of using the reliable, safe jab, winds up for a big power attack. There are few evidences that the game is really badly rushed, but this combat with the Saraphin priesthood, it's one of them.
I think, didn't you say that they fixed that in the sequel?
They did. I'm pretty sure that that was one of the biggest criticisms for Soul Reaver 2, so they focused on it.
What is with these ice floors? You are just asking to slip and hit your head. Yes.
Well, Raziel's got spider powers, so maybe he's okay. Still, that's gotta suck on bare feet.
It's no wonder the ancient race is blue, though. I mean, if you live in a place like that, it's gotta be cold.
The ancient race is truly a baffling and maybe just downright backwards sort of people.
Why do we care to be their messiah again? Yes.
I think Raziel just likes attention, basically. It appeared that Yanos' home was full of artifacts that could only be activated by the Reaver. I had no idea what to make of that. I had hoped that once I gained entry, I could make my way easily to Yanos' chambers, but no such luck. The doorway was situated high above. Apparently, they had little concept of handicapped stairways. What if Yanos broke a wing while he was in his bedroom? How was he gonna get down?
Truly a wise and enigmatic people.
Their floors are made of ice, they've got killer death-ray eyeballs, there's no stairs anywhere. This place is a home accident waiting to happen. I will bet you that their bathtubs don't even have the no-slip surface.
They're vampires. They can't bathe in water, remember?
Oh, that's right. They smell like 1,000-year-old vampire butt.
Again, truly a wise and enigmatic race.
The feared Janos Audron lives dangerously. Every day is a statistical brush with death. Yes.
Well, Kain can turn into bats or mist or stuff like that, so maybe Janos can do that too. So maybe if he broke a leg or an arm or a wing, he could just turn into mist, reform, and he'd be okay.
So wait, could the whole vampire race do that? Like the entire ancient race? No, that's good. They make a window bridge.
You gotta love the way that it just lets it drop under the force of gravity, causing it to bounce.
Now that it's been subjected to a whole bunch of shear stress, walk across it.
If you are too much a coward to walk across a structurally unstable bridge, yes, then you are unfit to see Yanos.
This place is just such a ridiculous death trap.
So you think the ancient Time Guardian built this stuff, or what?
If so, that guy is such a jerk.
Well, to be fair, Raziel can be kind of a jerk. Maybe the ancient Time Guardian foresaw Raziel, realized he'd be a jerk, and then decided to punish him.
Well, that's not fair. Raziel wouldn't even know that he was being punished.
Well, okay, maybe it's not punishment then. Maybe it's just pure spite.
Well, that is just plain abuse of power. We don't even know the guy.
If he's that kind of individual, you could think, he might be responsible for all this. Maybe he looked ahead in the future, saw that women would wear tank tops, then got mad, decided to eradicate all society.
God, the Time Guardian thing? Way too dangerous. How would you even know if someone was doing something like that?
Mobius has been manipulating the time stream, yes.
So maybe the past Guardian was doing it too.
Yeah, but Mobius manipulates for the Elder God, not over petty social stuff.
Sure, but that's Mobius. We don't know this other guy. He could have his own motivations.
Still doesn't explain why the floor is made out of ice.
Maybe the place is used as a skating rink sometimes. Speaking of, we should go. Yes, we should go now. Yes.
Okay, alright. Next week, it's Janos Audron. Thanks for playing with us, everybody.